All right, hello and welcome to this lesson where we're going to create a new document here in Adobe Illustrator. So as always, we'll go to File, New, and the new document dialog is very similar to Photoshop's new document dialog. So of course, up here we have the name where we specify something relevant to the project we're working on. We also have profiles. We have web, print, devices, video and film. Basically, I usually will want to use something just basic RGB for our purposes, which is UI design. Number of artboards. So this also has artboards. You can increase these, but for our purposes, specifically as we're going to be using Illustrator, it's only going to be for the logo design. So we only need one artboard for this. For the size, we have, just different presets down here. It doesn't really mean too much. You can also specify a custom width and height. The units, I always just use points. This is what it's on by default. We also do see we have pixels, but Illustrator is really not about pixels as much as it is about being vector. And in vector, there are no pixels, so you'll understand what I mean exactly in a little bit. Then we have bleeds. Bleeds are only relevant when we're dealing with print documents. Okay, so if you're designing a business card, you're going to have a bleed. But for us, since we're not, we don't have to worry about this. Advanced color mode, remember, if we're using something that's going to be viewed on a device such as a phone or a monitor, or a smartphone rather, we're going to be using RGB. CMYK, again, is just for print. Raster effects, screen 72, that's fine, and hit OK. Okay, so again, depending on the size of it, it's going to scale it down initially so we can see the whole thing. So it's almost viewable for me. That's at 92%. We hit Control or Command 1 to get to 100%. And that's basically how you create a new document. Now, another real quick tip that we'll take a look at is what if we wanted to resize this? We could do that by clicking on the Artboard tool, and we can make it less height. If I hit the space key and left click and drag, we can also make it less in width. And then just select on the selection tool, and that basically affirms what we want. Now, if we choose that same artboard tool, we can also change the size by up here, going by width and height over here. But that's just something that you may or may not have to do when we're designing our logo. So that is basically, a very quick introduction in terms of how you create a new document. And of course, to save it, File, Save, Save As, and there you go. All right, so in the next lesson, we're going to take a look at the Layers panel over here and how it differs from Photoshop.